Welcome, everyone. And my name is Rajiv Sajja. I'm looking forward to hosting this amazing wellness program webinar today. And I know there's some people joining from all over the country. So if you want, you're welcome to post in the chat what city you're joining from. We'll keep the chat open. So feel free to do that. I know some of you were very anxious to turn on the video. You should be able to do that now. I think we clicked the wrong button. So you'd be good going forward. Welcome to a Reset30, a holistic wellness program that will help you develop lifelong lifestyle habits to truly live a life of health, truly wealth, because that's your wealth, and happiness as well. So I'm excited to introduce the speaker to you. But before I do that, I want to share a quick video that will tee us up, and I'll come back and introduce the speaker, and we'll get started. So here we go, and I got a fun video for you. Okay, folks, we're ready to get started. I am honored to introduce the speaker to you. His name is Nanda Shingari. Him and his wife, Sangeeta, are based in Naples, Florida. Nanda is a very successful entrepreneur for over 2 decades. But what is most exciting today is that he's going to talk about a wellness program that has truly helped transform many people's lives. And this is not just theory. That's what I'm most excited about. Nanda is very results-driven. And so I'm really excited to have him share the stage here with us, a virtual stage, of course, to share this amazing Reset30 program. So without any further ado, help me welcome Nanda Shingari.
Thank you, Rajiv. Good evening, folks. I'm so excited to share information about the Reset30 program. And to help me today, we have Rajiv, who's the host, and appreciate him running the slides for me. And also, we have a cardiologist and a wellness coach, my good friend Shobit Madan from Orlando here, to share his journey and how this program has really helped him. So we both of us are going to take you through this journey for about an hour or so and tell you how this can change your life. Okay. And Rajiv, can we, Shobit, you want to say a quick hello before we?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Shobit. Background of preventive cardiologist. Now I work in the clinical research industry, been in medical work for 20 years. And really excited about this journey and looking forward to have Nanda share with you a few things, and I'll come back to share my journey.
Okay, thank you, Shobit. All right, Rajiv, you ready? Okay. All right, like every presentation, we start with this medical disclaimer, because the information that we're going to provide you here should not be construed as medical advice. It's not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Please always seek the advice of your physician regarding any medical condition. Always consult with your physician before starting any exercise program or taking any supplements or changing your diet. Okay? All right. Having said that, I'm really excited to share with you information about the Reset30 program. I'm going to tell you what the Reset30 program is. I know you guys are thinking, what's this Reset30 all about? It's almost like a Control-Alt-Delete, for your health. And why? If I don't tell you why it's important, you're not going to understand why you should do it. Okay, and we're going to showcase a success story for you, and then really go a little bit dive into the Reset 30 program. Okay. All right. Let's look at what this can do for you. All right. And first of all, when people ask me what Reset 30 is, I'll tell you what it's not. It's not a diet program. All right. And, many of you have heard of Hard 75. It's a viral challenge that's going on the internet. It's much tougher, but this can fit into most lifestyles. What will it help you do? It'll support your positive mood. It's going to help you with many of these things that I'm going to share here. Okay. Let's talk about, appearance. You want to talk about staying active and fit, improve your sleep. All right. Many bodily systems. There are 11 bodily systems that we have: a digestive system, immune system, and build really healthy lifelong habits. Now, I'll tell you something about this program. We don't want to lecture you what to do. By the way, if you're here, you already have made some sort of decision about your health, that you want to take care of your health. But there's so much of information today. Knowledge is overrated. We live in a ChatGPT world. So I know you can fact check what I'm going to say here, but you probably know there's not going to be many aha moments for you here. It's going to validate what you probably already know. But I'm excited about this program because it's going to help you build healthy habits. Without these habits, you're going to go back to your old habits and not get the results that you're really looking for. Now, it is centered on 4 pillars: nutrition, physical activity, positive mindset, and hydration. We're going to go deep, dive into these things later. But 30 days, you're going to focus on these 4 things that's going to help you reset your health. Let's go to the next one, Rajiv. All right. It's such a simple program. Anybody can learn in 1 hour, believe it or not. And there's a website that we have created. You can go there right now. After the seminar is over, you can go there, put the password guest, and you will see how simple the program is. There's a 26-minute video that is available to you to watch. And within 1 hour, you'll be able to know what this program is all about and follow it. Okay, that's how simple it is. All right, so there's an assessment that you take. It's a self-assessment before and after. Why is that? So at the end of 30 days, you'll know the improvements that you have made. So it's self-assessment, but you'll also have access to a coach who's going to help you. And that's the nice thing about this program, is that somebody's there, one phone call away, one text away, and there's no charge for that. We're not going to charge you for making that phone call, for that time that we're going to spend. I believe that a wellness coach, a good wellness coach, is worth their weight in gold. You can dig a hole using a spoon or a shovel, but imagine getting a backhoe, right? And that's the value of a wellness coach. And you can do an assessment before and after. Like I was telling you before, Rajiv mentioned that we have to be results driven, and this will help you track that. Let's go to the next one, Rajiv. And so what are we going to track? Self-tracking will also help us track our supplements that we take, the food that we're eating, the protein, the amount of protein that we're taking, hydration, physical activity, positive mindset, all these things. For 4 weeks, we're going to track that. And you're going to work with your coach to do that. And this is going to help you improve your health, absolutely and drastically. All right. Now, how many of you have come into this session having some goals already? This year I will do this. This year, I'll change that. And, we all make New Year resolutions. But unfortunately, what happens is that when we make those resolutions, they don't last that long, right? And here's a funny thing, most resolutions last longer than January 2nd, but that's the reality of it, is that most resolutions don't go by. People don't stick to their resolutions. So this year is going to be different because you're going to be working with a new community that's going to hold your hand and work with you and journey with you. By the way, I'm on my journey too. And I'll share my story a little bit while Shobit is sharing his story, where I've come from. And I'm still on my journey. So what are some of the resolutions that you can make? Okay, let's look at that. Eating right, being healthy, being more active, getting leaner, lose some weight. Although this is not a weight loss program, a side effect of this program will be weight loss and muscle gain also. Okay. And I want to call it fat loss because, we want to focus on fat loss and muscle gain more than weight loss. It's all about body composition, sleep more. So these are some things that I hope you have in your New Year resolutions, and we can help you to achieve that. All right, let's look at the next one. All right, why do we need a Reset 30 program? Well, I think this is a good point for me to share my journey. When COVID hit, I was taking my health for granted. And I did not realize how much of an effect COVID would have in America. I thought America, such an advanced country with such an amazing healthcare system, I thought, if the deaths happen, it won't be in America. Weren't we all surprised? Did you know that 94% of COVID-related deaths, I think there were over 1 million deaths in America, had an average of 2.6 pre-existing chronic conditions. Think about it: hypertension, type 2 diabetes, and obesity. And guess what? I had all three of them. My doctor was telling me, Nanda, you have to get on to blood pressure medication. Your HbA1c is 6.3, and you're already a pre-diabetic. There's no such thing as a pre-diabetic. Pre-diabetic is almost diabetic. So I got to put you on diabetic medication. And I was obese. So I was a good candidate, for COVID to take me down, right? And that was a scary moment. But you know what? Even before that, there are 400,000 deaths annually, just because of obesity. There are 135 million diabetic or pre-diabetic individuals in America. Or 60% of American population has some sort of heart disease. 70% of Americans rely on pharmaceutical drugs. And 115 million people suffer from regular sleep deprivation. Think about it. You would think that America would not have all these problems, and only 12% of the people in America over 40 have optimal metabolic health. I point to number 40 years. When you purchase a car, it comes with manufacturer's warranty, right? You buy a device, an Apple device, 1-year warranty. Do you know human beings come with 40 years of manufacturer's warranty? After that, Mother Nature really has no use for us. Longevity is a personal goal. It's a selfish goal. But if you don't take care of yourself, it's downhill from that. And that's what happened to me. I was over 40 years old, COVID hit, and I realized something is really wrong. And I'd already lost my father to heart disease, and I was a prime candidate if I didn't take care of myself. So why should you take care of yourself? If you have any of these chronic diseases, acute diseases are fine. Acute conditions are fine. You have a fall, break a leg, you go to a doctor, or you get sick through flu, they give you a few days of antibiotics. That's for a few days. But diabetic medication, heart disease medication, hypertension, they prescribe you for a lifetime. So as a community, what we've decided was, we need to help people prevent, because prevention is better than cure and it's cheaper than cure, right? It saves you a lot of agony. And so we said, there's something going on in America that we need to find a way to figure out, can we prevent it? Can we arrest it? And even reverse it? But you don't hear that kind of talk, in the healthcare system, because health is not a good profit center for the healthcare system. You need a farm of patients, for the healthcare system to thrive. So this is why you need to get healthy, so that you don't become a number, a candidate for the healthcare system, that you take charge. And today, the Reset 30 program and the things, the activities, and the pillars will help you understand how you can take care of yourself and not be a victim of a chronic disease. Let's go to the next one. Well, let me introduce a concept called health span. Let's say somebody lives for 75 years. but they got sick. They start developing chronic disease by the time they were 40. They lived 35 years of their life in disease. It's called life in disease. On an average in America, people are spending 40% of their lives with a chronic disease. Can you believe that? So you know what? Instead of just asking for a long lifespan, it's better to ask for a long health span with it. Delay the occurrence of the first comorbidity, which is it could be anything. It should delay it until your 70s, not in your 30s. People are getting dialysis done in their 20s and 30s right now. So, I live in Naples, and, a lot of people are, old here. 40% of the population is older population. I see the, challenges that come with being sick in the older years. I call it the marginal years of your life, maybe the last 5-10 years of your life. How do you want to live in those years? And if you want to live a vibrant life in those years, you need to take care of yourself right now, okay? And this program is going to open up into what you need to take care of. What are the pillars, for good health, vibrant health? All right. And let's go to the next slide. Well, metabolic syndrome is the gateway for every other disease. And you know what? You won't even know. I didn't even know I had high blood pressure. I probably had high blood pressure for 5-10 years before I ended up at the doctor. And I didn't have high blood sugar, but eventually I developed that. I had, high LDL, but not good HDL, high triglycerides. And, my waist size went from 33 to 42. So I knew something was going on, but you know what? By the time I went to a doctor and asked him, what do I need to do? We didn't have this conversation about pillars of health. He said, take this medication, that medication, and come back here 3 months later, 6 months later. And that's not prevention. In fact, if you Google for preventive health, that's what they'll say, maintenance drugs, people on maintenance drugs, the statin drugs, blood pressure drugs, and that's not, I didn't want to be part of that. And actually, I was put on these drugs, and I kept taking higher dosage of drugs, but that didn't really help me at all, And let's go to the next slide. Metabolic syndrome leads to 3 diseases. It's a gateway, like I mentioned, diabetes, obesity, and heart disease. And we don't want to go there, right? They say that people who have diabetes live 11 years shorter than people who don't have that. So if you want to really cut short your lifespan, become a diabetic, right? Which leads to heart disease. We live in a society where, we are taken care of by a disease treatment model, which means that you get sick, then you go to the doctor, and they'll treat that disease. Now, we call the Reset30 program as holistic. I know it's a buzzword. What does holistic mean? They say a good doctor treats a disease. A great doctor treats the patient. Okay, right? So here we're not talking about, if I could go to a doctor with a headache, they're not going to talk to me about other areas of my life, right? Hey, what might be causing heart, headache? They'll just give me a headache medication, right? Doesn't make sense to you? We're in a disease treatment model. Think about it. Goldman Sachs asking, asked in a biotech report, is curing patients a sustainable business model? What does a business model really create? A profit center, right? Health is not a profit center. So you're not going to hear people talking about health. There's no broccoli lobby here. There's no asparagus lobby, but there is pharma lobby. The industrial complex is there to, to support the healthcare system. So we need to get away from that. Now, the reason this is important is that this actually reminds me of a conversation I had recently with an Uber driver. I asked him, what do you do for your health? He said, and he was obese. And I asked him, he said, no, I'm a veteran. And I said, thank you for your service, sir. And asked him, so what's your plan? He said, well, the VA system is awesome. I'm going to go to a doctor. I'm going to go to the healthcare system. So for him, health meant, I'm going to rely on a doctor. He was not going to take personal responsibility for that. But we're going to change that through the Reset30 program. Next. Well, you know what? If People think that wellness is expensive, eating healthy is expensive, illness is super expensive. In fact, one of the reasons people get bankrupt in America is because of medical bills. And we don't want to go there. And we can change that by making decisions now. Well, I want to go take you through why this is happening. There's a boiling frog syndrome. You know how you cook a frog? If you throw a frog into boiling water, it's going to sense the temperature of the water and jump out. But you know how you can cook a frog? Put the frog in a lukewarm water, in a vessel with lukewarm water, and turn up the heat slowly. And frog would not even know the change in temperature and gets cooked. The first thing is ignorance. My goal today is to shed light on areas of your life that you may have to work on. These are the areas I have to work on. I had to get knowledgeable. But knowledge is not wisdom, but it's a starting point. And people say, you know what, I'm too young, YOLO, right? You live only once, let me go party, let me enjoy right now. And when I get older, when, like other people do, I'll take care of it, or I'll get onto medication. I don't feel like next. Information overload, what do I do? You're probably going to face that tonight. You're going to say, man, I've heard this before. What are they going to say that I don't know already? Okay, let's go to the next. Okay, busy. Are you too busy for your health? I hope not, because I'm going to change your attitude and your thought process. Stressed out, and who's not, right? Think about it. If you turn up the news, watch the news or read a newspaper, man, you're stressed out. The life is, people are stressed out right now. Next. Standard American diet is the big problem. 70% of our diet, think about it, looking at thing, it makes me throw up. But it's tasty though, right? How many of you, I cannot deny the fact that it's super tasty. They make it so palatable. You put salt, fat, and sugar in anything, man, it's going to taste good. If this diet was so good, then how come 88% of people are unhealthy in America? Think about it. Worst processed foods. Next. Okay. And think about this. A lot of people say, I eat fruits and vegetables. Did you know that the minerals that you get from the fruits and vegetables today is far less than what people got 20, 30, 40 years ago? The reason is very simple. The soil quality has gone down. So plants get nutrients from soil, and nutrients are not there in soil. No minerals in the plants and fruits that we eat. So we're not eating enough, fruits and vegetables today. Next. Well, on-demand food. All right. Think about it. You're watching football, watching a movie, and you feel like eating something. You don't want to cook. Press of a button, you got unhealthy food delivered to your doorstep. And I always thought that doctors knew everything about nutrition, but did you know that doctors only get 20 hours of education on nutrition? And Shobit can probably vouch for that and address that. So doctors spend 7 to 15 minutes on an average with you. You cannot ask them about nutrition. Yeah, they're going to throw in eat right and exercise more kind of talk, but not really dig deeper into what you should be doing and eating. And think about the financial interests of the food industry and the big pharma. It's too much. All of them are in bed with each other, project what is good, what's not, for us as Americans. Other big thing is toxins. We never think about this. Do you know indoor air pollution is worse than outdoor pollution? And we don't take care of our indoors. And pollutants, toxins are a major problem. And if you're not healthy, our liver and kidneys and lungs are not going to filter them, causing, onset of many of these diseases that we're going to talk about. Next thing is water. America is not, by the way, legal water, which is any water standard that's legal, is not safe. And you can go search. There is a website for that. Search if your tap water is, safe. It might be legal. It might not be safe. If you got a boil water notice in your neighborhood, your water is not safe. Okay. All right. You got to really think about that. Harmful PFAS and all of that. So that's how you really get sick in America. Let's go next. So, it's a good point for me to talk about my health journey and bring up Shobit here. When you look at here, this health and continuum, it's so important to realize that Either we're getting sick or we're getting well. There's no really neutral. For example, what we eat can feed disease or feed our health. And when I really start paying attention to my health, because it seemed like I was abusing my body. I was using my body to create income, to live I was enjoying my lifestyle, but at the expense of my health. And I was probably a 4 or a 5. I was already taking medication. And if I had not put a stop to that, I would have been a 3 and a 2, and which leads to premature death. And when I went to my doctor, he said, when did your father pass away? I said 75. Well, that's a good long life, for an Indian. I'm an Asian Indian by background. He said, why do you say that? Well, you know what? If you don't take care of yourself, lifespan for an Indian is 75. Okay. And I said, that's crazy. I never heard of that. I never heard of a health span, lifespan conversation. That was a wake up moment for me. And I said, today I'm going to change that because look, I started creating reasons for me to stay healthy. Why do you want to be healthy? So that you have energy to do the things that you want to do, so that you're not dependent on somebody and not spend the money. When I say I love you to my family, I want to say I love you and I don't need your help in my marginal years. I can take care of myself. So you know what? I'm probably a 7 or an 8 today, but I want to be a 10. I want to introduce you to Shobit now, who's really a great example, how somebody has used this program to reverse many of the conditions he had. I know that legally, a lot of people will not claim that you cannot reverse any chronic diseases, but you know what? We cannot guarantee results for you. That's one thing I can tell you. I've coached many people. Some people get results, some people don't. We don't know your work ethic. You don't know your passion for health or your urgency for health. But here's somebody who really reversed his chronic conditions. So Shobit, take it away and please share your journey.
Thank you, Nanda. Good evening, folks. My name is Shobit Madan. I live with my wife, Neetu, and my son, Jashan. We live in Orlando, Florida. And by background, I'm a physician by background. I'm a cardiologist. My training has been always in cardiovascular imaging. And then I went from seeing adult patients after seeing 20, 30,000 patients with cardiovascular diseases. Went to see, I got an opportunity to see children's with congenital heart diseases. Worked at Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh for almost 10 years. And I have a master's in public health. So I have achieved, quite high level of education in medicine and public health. 20 years ago, this particular year, I graduated from medical school in 2003. And after that, I came to US. And, over the years, I got addicted to 3 things: fat, sugar, and salt, as Nanda was sharing. And those 3 things are not healthy, and they took me down in my health. In my 30s, I started, getting joint pain because I started putting on a lot of weight. My waist size used to be 28 when I came here to this country 20 years ago, and it was 44, 46, in that range just a few years ago, 3 years ago. And but I was like, you know what? I need to change my lifestyle, because if I am, so passionate about health, what am I doing? Am I living a life of authenticity? Am I really inspiring people? And the answer was no. So I was like, you know what? I want to live a life of significance. I want to change the way I look at myself, and that's not me. So I had a little one who was born during COVID times, and I was like, you know what? My dream became even bigger. My dream became bigger to not only actually live a healthy life for myself, but for my next generation, my son. And my dream even became stronger, that my dream is now to actually be healthy and happy and run a marathon with my grandchildren and actually be at their graduation. So to achieve that, I really had to make some drastic changes. So like Nanda started with this talk, start with why, and my why became very clear. So I started the Reset program. This Reset30 was launched because of the commitment. One was, of course, many years I was taking the resolution that I'm going to do something about this, having joint pain, blood pressure, 140 by 90 was my baseline blood pressure. all throughout my 30s. And I was like, man, this is crazy. My cholesterol 200 plus, 250. And 4 years ago, my blood sugar was one day, my parents were visiting from India, and in the morning, they checked their blood sugar. My father has had triple vessel bypass at the age of 54, and he's 78 now. He has little mild dementia. He cannot travel anymore. And over the last 6 years, his health has gone down, deteriorated. And in his prime time of his career, very successful attorney, became a judge, very successful. But you know what? He cannot come and see his grandson here. So that is where I was like, no, I want to be very healthy and happy and help other people. So when my blood sugar, when we were checking in the morning, it was 420 fasting. And I was like, something is wrong with this glucometer. I checked second one. Again, it came to be similar results. I was shocked. We went to the doctor and we got my A1C results. They were 11.4 hemoglobin A1C. And I was like, man, and the doctor said, with your cardiac score and this high level of diabetes, you're really cut down your life by at least 15 to 20 years. I was like, no, that's not me. And they put me on medication, metformin, Jardians. They said if your blood sugar doesn't come in control in the next 6 to 8 months, you might have to start you on insulin now. So I was becoming, very scared, and I was like, that was a wake-up moment for me. I started changing my lifestyle. I started walking. It did hurt in the beginning, but then I started overcoming my own self. I started getting myself out of my own way. I was like, you know what? I want to make an impact in my own life. So fast forward 2 years later, when I had made my discipline that I am going to commit to improving my health, medications was really not helping. Medications were helping, brought my A1C down to like maybe 7.58, but really, it was not changing much. So I had to really do something. So the Reset30, which includes nutrition, physical activity, and positive mindset and hydration. What did I have to do? Positive mindset. I had to start focusing on gratitude, challenging negative thoughts, setting some realistic goals that I can, minimal goals, small goals, which I can achieve every day. Like, 30 minutes of walk. That doesn't take much, 30 minutes of walk. Surrounding myself with supportive people, and that's when I joined the community, the WMR community, the Wellness Moonshot Revolution. And the support I got from this community is like, you cannot put a price tag on it. Consistently practicing mindfulness. I started doing yoga, and started being self-compassion, about myself. And did I fall back? Sure. But I stayed disciplined. So I put some visuals in front of me. How do I want to look when I'm healthy and fit? And my goal was, I'm going to hit 190 pounds in 2023. And as of yesterday, I hit my target of 180 pounds, all the way from 244 pounds. So 54 pounds I've lost over the last 2.5 years. And just the last year itself, it's been, I've lost over 40 pounds. So and I feel so much energy. And it's been already 6 months, 4 to 5 months since I started coming closer to my goals. So how to achieve optimal nutrition? I started focusing on balanced diet, eating healthy, cutting off added sugars in my diet, started watching what I was eating, portion control, cut off carbs, not completely, but minimize it to only 10 or 20% of my diet. Majority of my diet was protein-based diet. So those are the things I started making in my life. But gratitude made a big thing in my life. And I started speaking exactly what I do want, what I don't have. And so what I did not have, I was overweight. So I started speaking, I'm getting healthier. I'm getting happier every single day. Power of self-talk. That started changing. But the biggest thing was self-discipline. No matter what program, I gave up all memberships, no gym memberships, because I was paying over $500 to $1,000 a year on gym memberships and not showing up. I had a treadmill at home, which had become a coat hanger. I was like, what the heck, man? Why am I wasting so much of time and my money in all these things just because of showing off to other people? No, I want to live a life of authenticity. I want to be myself. And I can do certain things which can be very natural. Back 19 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, in these years, there was no gyms, there were no treadmills, and there were no sort of fancy these things that we have today. People used to walk. People used to walk miles. Today, if you tell me, ask me 5 miles, easily I can walk, no problem. All I have to do is just have myself hydrated, take
Thank
my
you,
vitamins.
Shobit. Yeah, thank
So
you. I mean, that's an amazing story. I mean,
that's where
I
I
wish
wanted to.
I could easily take an hour of your time
Thanks.
and ask you questions, but I'm sure when people meet you in the community, they can have a one-on-one talk with you and chat with you and get some more tips in
Sure.
just the time. And I really appreciate you taking the time to share. And I know I'm applauding you, and I've seen your journey, and this is pretty inspiring. Okay, all right, let's run through this really quick. I'm gonna hurry through some of these slides, but definitely get back with the person who invited you here. You can get a recording of this and we can walk you through these things. But remember, we were all doing okay until 100 years ago. And then, processed foods were introduced. And that's the problem. 70% of our diet, consists of processed food. And that's really what's the main cause of chronic diseases. So let's hurry through these slides, Rajiv. Yeah. So look at your diet and develop this knack of taking a mental snapshot of everything that goes on your plate. And look at the ingredients. And many people don't even know how to read a nutrition label, and I was one of them. And you got to see how to read that so that you're not causing nutrient deficiency or toxicity. And look at all the things that could go wrong if you're not eating right. So nutrition is the number one thing that you need to tackle. 80% of your health, better health can be achieved just with nutrition. Think about that. So the root cause is poor nutrition. Let's go to the next one. Well, let's go to the cellular level. What's happening? Stress, poor diet, pollution, UV rays, all of that is really causing free radical damage to your cells. Actually, if it happens, all you need is enough antioxidants to reverse the damage. And guess what? If you're having standard American diet, you're not getting enough antioxidants. So that's the root cause, the oxidative stress, caused by all these free radicals. Next. So think how to reverse it. Look at an unhealthy cell and a healthy cell. Your goal is to, think cellular for being really healthy. And I think cellular. When I think about my body, I'm thinking about the 100 trillion cells that are in my body. And I'm thinking, man, every cell is working for me. I ask myself, how do I help my cells? Okay, let's go next. The other component that we need to really take care of is our gut. Unfortunately, the standard American diet has caused havoc, in our gut. We have more bad bacteria than good bacteria. Bad bacteria leads to obesity and all the other problems, okay? So the 4 pillars are there to address. If you look at free radical damage, okay, gut issues, and think about it, how do you address that? With nutrition, through hydration, and exercise and positive mindset. These 4 pillars can help you reverse the damage that's being caused in your body. Okay, let's go through this quickly. What do you need? There are 5 most important elements of nutrition. Wholesome food. Ask yourself, do you really eat wholesome food every single day? What are some of the barriers? Lack of time, lack of money, lack of planning, busyness, right? And lack of knowledge. What do you eat? They say that most of us eat 3 or 4 different types of vegetables, 2 or 3 types of meat, and 2 or 3 types of grain. There's no diversity in our food anymore. So there's no diversity in good bacteria anymore. So you got to pay attention to wholesome food. Whole grains, and all of that, antioxidants, omega-3s, fiber. And really, we're not getting enough potassium because there's no minerals. We're not eating enough fruits and vegetables anymore. We are consuming a lot more salt than potassium. So these are the 5 most important elements of nutrition. Next. Well, how many of us really know how to really pick and choose good, wholesome food for us? Do you really know how to read a nutrition label? Next, Raji. I bet you that, that majority of people don't know how to read a nutrition label or really don't care. I'll give you an example. When COVID hit, my wife said, go and get groceries. When I went there, I saw all these people buying boxes and boxes of stuff and cans of goods. Because they said, it's almost like war situation. And they're getting canned goods. And I never paid attention to nutrition labels. When I came home, my wife didn't want to consume any one of these products because she read the nutrition labels, none of these are healthy. So please pay attention to it. Next. Let me ask you this. The 3 tablespoons of ketchup and there is that glazed donut. Which one has more sugar? If you answered donut, you're wrong. Yes, that's right. It's ketchup. How many of us want to eat those fries with ketchup? And by the way, fruits and vegetables does not mean eating, fries and ketchup would not count as fruits and vegetables, okay? Right? So think about it. So we need to develop awareness and knowledge how to make good choices. Gut health is important. Next. So I already talked to you about good bacteria versus bad bacteria. We have too much of bad bacteria. Firmicutes, those are called the bad bacteria. You have to reduce firmicutes to become cute. That's what I tell people. And so it's absolutely important. We need to replace the bad ones with the good ones. How do you do that? I have a very simple thing that I've learned. When I'm eating, I'm asking myself, I have to eat for 2 people. One for me, for my taste, and the other for bacteria. There are, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 trillion bacteria, they say, that we have or more. So you got to ask yourself, are you eating for your bacteria, good bacteria, and are you eating for yourself? If you're eating anything processed, tasty food, you're feeding the bad bacteria. They want to crave for more of that. So remember that. So you need to develop a healthy gut. Next. Next. Well, the fact is that 90% of us don't get recommended servings of fruits and vegetables. That's where we miss the potassium, we miss a lot of the minerals. In fact, they say that 90% of DNA damage comes from mineral deficiency. So we don't have vitamin deficiency in America, we have mineral deficiency. So it's important that we pay attention to what minerals that we need, and potassium is one of them. All right, and let's go to the next one. So how do I fill the gap? Look, every day, my wife and I are very health conscious. We choose good food. We plan our meals. We go do groceries at good stores. But at the end of the day, I know that I'm not getting all the requirements that my body needs for optimal health. There is gaps in my fat. I can most probably fill the gap through my diet. But for minerals, vitamins, and protein, I cannot do protein. I cannot get 80, 90, 100 grams of protein from diet. And I had to fill the gap. And it's very important you develop this consciousness about what gap you're trying to fill and how much. If you don't do it, they say it's, in America, we don't have a fat issue. I know people are fat. There's, people have a lot of body fat, but really an under muscle issue. We don't have too much of muscle, and that's because we're not eating enough protein. So it's absolutely important to fill the gap with protein. And that has helped me to be conscious about my protein intake. Next. Well, we have partnered with a company called Neutralite, and they're the best in the world. In fact, they're number 1. They say that there's 20% increase in number of people showing up in hospitals for liver toxicity, liver damage, because 70% of Americans are consuming some sort of vitamins and supplements. It's a very competitive industry. But because of the poor quality and metals, arsenic and other things found in these poor quality supplements, people are buying because they're cheaper and they claim a lot of things. It's not regulated. And there's 20% increase in people showing up in hospitals because of liver damage. If I have to choose something that goes in my body, I want to choose the best. And I want you to go do your own research about Neutralite and why are some of the best, okay? So that you don't have any liver-related injuries. Okay, Neutralite products are made from Earth's rich nutrients, that provide real results. Because remember, I talked to you about minerals from plants come from plants, and minerals for plants come from soil. So and Neutralite grows. They grow their own, fruits and vegetables for these vitamins and supplements in their own organic farms. So the purity is important, safety is important, and C2 supplement. That means that they control the whole process, minding every detail along the way. And that's why I chose Neutralite for myself and for my community. And it's absolutely important to me what I put into my body. Well, how much does it cost? People ask me, how much does it cost? It costs $187 for four supplements that we recommend. If you can see this, on my screen, I'm holding a bag of protein powder. I get 30 days. This is 30 sticks of probiotic, and I got fiber, and I got liver support. And why do I need these things? And I already gave you enough reasons for that. This is only for the first 30 days. While you're developing good habits for nutrition, for your diet. By the way, we're agnostic to the kind of diet you want to choose. All we want to ask you is that you eat clean, not processed food, avoid processed food. So you could be following a vegan diet or a carnivore diet or whatever diet. We're agnostic to that. But these supplements will help you in your journey the first 30 days, okay, to balance out everything. All right. Next. So it's $187 for the first 30 days. That's what that's really cost of the supplements. You get a step-by-step guide. You're going to get self-assessment and tracking sheets, one-on-one time with a wellness coach. Already told you that itself is worth a lot of money. Website for workouts. And Shobit said that he had subscription plans for a lot of things. You don't need to, because we have a website with trainers that will help you, follow any routines. I chose something that I like, but you can pick what you like from that website. Okay, let's go to the next one. So there's accessfitnessprogram.com. Once you become a customer, you can log in there. There's no charge. You can access as much as you want. There's videos, there's material there that's going to help you create your own fitness program. If you learn how to do 15 minutes of something, high intensity interval training, something, okay, 150 minutes of that in a week, you got it made. Okay, that does wonders for your health. Okay, next. Well, let's talk about positive mindset. It's so important. We live in a world where we're getting fed constantly. Somebody wants our eyeballs and attention, right? They call it, we're an attention economy. So, what is meditation? And you know what? I started meditation. Shobit talked about yoga and meditation. I started yoga and meditation. It has done wonders for me. Meditation is nothing but connecting your mind to the present. And we're all over the place, starting from the first thing that we do is looking at our phones to the last thing that we do before we sleep. It brings you back to enjoying the current moment. Reading really helps you develop a positive mindset. Sleeping is absolutely important, okay? It helps improve your brain performance, mood, health, and not getting enough sleep regularly risks, causing many diseases. And I'll tell you what my problem was, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, everything would be fine. Sleep on time, get up on time. I was controlled by my job. But then Friday came along, I'd say, you know what? I don't have to wake up early. Then I would go sleep a few hours late and wake up late. And then there would happen the same thing on Saturday night. But come Sunday night, why do people have a problem on Mondays? Because they develop jet lag, on Sunday nights. And we do this week after week after week. And no wonder there is road rage incidents. People are unhappy, walking around on Monday mornings. And Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we back to it again, Friday night and Saturday night. We have to get good sleep and breathing exercises. It's called, think about it. 4 square is a breathing technique. It lowers stress levels, calms the nervous system, the vagus nervous system. It's so important, okay, that we developed it. And community. Can I tell you this? Loneliness is an epidemic in America. It's such far-reaching consequences. They say that the health impact of loneliness is comparable to smoking 10 to 15 cigarettes a day. Think about that. So loneliness is an epidemic. You got to be part of a community. You want to be accountable. And I'm more accountable today when I tell my wife I'm going to make healthy choices, and I'm part of a community. When I see other people journeying, look, you're not going to have great days all the time. You just have to piece together a bunch of good days, for you to be on a health journey. We get 3 meals a day. That's 21 meals a week. You get 7 times to work out. Think about it. You need few interventions. Maybe if you're off the rails 1 or 2 times, that's fine. But community brings you back. Okay, let's go to the next one. The power of community to create health is far greater than any physician, clinic, or hospital. Mark Heim, I totally believe in that. And for me, the game changer was being part of a community. Okay, I was not doing everything right, but when I saw Shobit, when I saw other people, Rajiv, other people doing it, there's a whole bunch of us in the community, leading the community, and I really enjoyed the process. And I said, you know what, I could do it too. Okay, gave me the belief, the confidence. What do we stand for? When Bill Gates in 1974 started Microsoft, he said, I want to have one personal computer on every desk in the world. Think about it. What has he created? Okay, Microsoft, behemoth, right? You know what? As a community, we want to educate and empower you to live in healthy, happy lives. But really, the real eventual goal is to impact 1 million people, reverse, arrest, and prevent chronic diseases, but really have at least 1 million health influencers. I know how to read a nutrition label. I know how to avoid seed oils, processed food. I know what kind of exercise that I need to, do. And all these things is awareness. Imagine 1 person in each family doing that. If I see parents are obese, children are obese. Okay, right? If husband is obese, wife has no reason to be healthy. You see that, so, good habits are contagious. Bad habits are contagious too, right? So we want to create good habits in you so that you influence people around you. We need your help. We can't do it alone. And that's what this community is all about. Okay, next. Well, start your journey. We get you Facebook support. Okay, WhatsApp. Some people don't use Facebook. You can be part of WhatsApp. If you do both, that's fine. And I really love it. I get notifications. Somebody drank water. We recommend 2 liters of water a day. Right? It's so important. And you want to start your optimal health journey with the Reset30 program. I like it because it's simple. No gym membership. There's no subscription program here, right? And you're going to learn about a lot of things that you need to learn to make good choices on an everyday basis. 2 most important things, nutrition and exercise. We're going to teach you what you need to be doing. There's no guesswork there. Part of nutrition is hydration. So we're going to talk to you about that. And I'll tell you, all these areas I had to have a lot of improvements on. It has made a difference. Next. So what do? If this makes sense to you, set up a meeting with the person who invited you here. They're not going to call you. You need to call them. You need to text them saying that, look, made sense. Tell me more. Okay, tell me more about this. You can ask for more information. The Reset30 website. Password is guest. You saw the link posted here in the chat. Go to the website. Learn for yourself. Get some more. There's a whole bunch of frequently asked questions there. 99% of your questions are going to get answered if you just go through that website. Invest 1 hour, because 2024 can be a hugely different, health-wise for you. Make sure that you do that. Complete a wellness assessment. They're going to help you with that. Meet with a wellness coach and begin your journey. Remember, the ball is in your court, and what you do with this information is totally up to you. We don't want to lecture you. We don't want to tell you what to do. We want to empower you so that you make good choices. And that's what really brings lasting changes. Not telling somebody what to do, because the decisions I make for you, you're not going to follow through. The decision that you make for yourself is what you're going to stick to. And remember that you need to make good choices every single day to take control of your life. Remember your why for being healthy, and that's what will move you along. I hope you enjoyed this webinar. Hope this made a difference for you by investing an hour of your time. I'm going to turn it back to host Rajiv Sajjan.
Thank you so much, Nanda, for that amazing presentation. And what I appreciated about the presentation was not just the program, but you gave us how we got here and to understand how we can build holistic wellness habits to truly make a difference in 2024 for our health. So thank you so much for you and Dr. Shobit for sharing very insightful information. And those of you that are here listening to this information, and I know Nanda mentioned this, I think we know that you're proactive if you actually reach out to the person that's invited you versus them reaching out to you because this is your health and nobody can make that decision except you. And I hope you make the right decision, and hopefully we'll welcome you to our vibrant wellness community that Nanda was talking about. And stay tuned. We will do another webinar in January with a different topic. But once you join the community, you'll get information on all those things as well. So we are on the dot at 9 o'clock. We ended on time. So this is amazing. So have a good Sunday night, and appreciate all of you that joined to learn more about your health and make a great 2024 happen for you. Take care, everybody.